Hey people, this is Truth Live Shenanigans, the live show, season 2, episode 8. I go by the name Neo Nix, and it's January 27th, 2021. For today's show, we have a very special guest, the head basketball coach of the Howard University Bison, Coach Kenneth Blakeney. He'll be joining us today. With our Lizzie asking him about top recruit McCord Maker and the challenges with COVID-19 this season. After that, we have our hot topics. We have video clip that resurfaced of Rick Ross's TV show. Gianni Storm wants to know, is colorism still a thing? Rob B tells us why Trump needs to pack his bags and leave Mar-a-Lago. And I want to talk about our latest viral TikTok video where our own Gianni Storm is getting blasted by nasty racist trolls. So it should be a great show ahead. Before we get into it, let me introduce you to our wonderful hosts. It looks like our professor, writer, journalist, and all-around sports guru is she frozen? She might be frozen.
She might be frozen.
All right. Well, let's introduce our rock star with the amazing band All In Machine, coming to you from Sudbury, Ontario, Rob B. Rock.
What's up, everybody? Happy Sunday fun day. I hope you're having an amazing day. A little bit chilly up here today, minus 20 Celsius, which is about minus 20 Fahrenheit. So we've reached that parity. But other than the chilly, it's good.
Chilly. Well, Canada should be chilly around this time. All right, and streaming from Atlanta, Georgia, our model, actor, college student, Gianni Storm.
Hey guys, happy hump day. I am actually exhausted. For once I've been running around, and if you've been in Atlanta traffic, then you know it's tiring. It's a job on its own. So I cannot wait to just relax today and speak with you guys and enjoy you guys.
Awesome. Always happy to have you. And we'll come back to our professor, writer, editor, journalist, and all-around sports guru out of Washington, D.C., Lizzie Enders.
Yes, we got a badass kitty in the midst of the evening, ladies and gentlemen.
That explains it.
Who unplugged the Ethernet. I'm back. Happy hump day, everyone. Haven't been doing a lot of humping today. I had to sit down and talk to the dentist about, a whole bunch of stuff. So let's just say in the month of March, I am going to be spending every waking moment with the boyfriend. That's my new guy. Well, I don't know about the COVID angle of it, but because of COVID and because people were on lockdown for such a long time, now folks are starting to catch up with their appointments. Mm-hmm. So I couldn't get an actual appointment to have work done until March, first week of March. So I'm going to be a mess for another month or so.
Cool. All right. So if you've never been to TLS, Truth Live Shenanigans, before, let me tell you a little bit about us. Our hosts share their truths and opinions with you, call out those lies, and point out any ridiculous shenanigans going on. And on our show, we always try to have some fun with some shenanigans of our own. Our show streams live just about everywhere: YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, Twitter. And this season, we're streaming live on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitch TV. Just search at TLS Live Show across all those platforms, and make sure you invite your friends to hang out with us. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the audio replay of the podcast on iTunes, Google, Alexa, Pandora, iHeart. You'll find us wherever you watch or listen to podcasts. All right, let's jump right into it. We have a very special guest today. Today's spotlight is on Coach Kenneth Blakeney, head coach of the Howard University basketball team. Hey, Coach Blakeney, how are you?
What's going on, everybody? How's everyone doing?
Wonderful. Great. Happy to see you. I know we were supposed to have you, I think, back about a month ago or so, and we're glad that we finally got you on. So we appreciate you joining us.
I'm excited to have this opportunity to chat with y'all.
Awesome.
Good. We're excited to have you.
So to introduce you to Coach Blakeney, he was raised in Washington, D.C., just like me and Lizzie. He was a McDonald's All-American, a Gatorade Player of the Year at famed DeMatha Catholic High School. He went on to play for the Duke Blue Devils. He has since coached at 7 Division I universities, including LaSalle University, University of Delaware, St. Bonaventure, Marshall, Harvard, and Columbia. Now in his second season as head basketball coach for the Howard Bison, Coach Blakeney has coached Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference all-time leading scorer Charles Williams, also Wayne Bristol Jr., who won the MEAC Rookie of the Year, and in this current season, he has top recruit McCord Maker. We are thrilled to have you join the show, Coach Blakeney. Thank you for joining us.
Did we miss
Appreciate it,
anything
Mia.
in that bio? Did we miss
Right.
anything in that bio?
I'm like, just thrilled that I can be mentioned at all. So thank you for that.
All right, so we have an accomplished sports journalist on our team, Lizzie Enders. So I'm going to turn things over to our wonderful Lizzie Enders.
What's up? What's up? So I've been dying to talk to you, Coach. A lot of things going on with HBU in sports, specifically Howard University in sports. So let's talk about the season in general. Like you started going into the season over the summer with a lot of high expectations, right? You had one of the top recruits, McCord Maker, in the country. You had a transfer from Purdue. So the things were looking good for the season, but then things kind of slowed down with COVID. So tell us, what has been the COVID protocol this season so far for the Howard Bison?
Yeah, well, right now we are into the second part of the season in terms of our scheduling. With the first part of our season, our young men got on campus around August the 14th, and each one of them were assigned a single apartment room, so they could all have their space and be able to quarantine. And we begin our training from that point on. We've gotten to the point where it's been, interesting. A lot of stuff we're finding out as we move forward. It's like there's not a blueprint to this COVID thing, and so we're learning things on the fly in terms of like how we the details in which we have to sanitize and clean things. I've been so proud of our team that they've done an amazing job, just with the responsibility that they've given, just handling it the right way. Currently, right now, we're on a pause with our COVID protocol. We had some positive tests come in on January 1, and I've just thought that it was best as we move forward with having, I guess, COVID really touch our team in a way that probably hasn't touched many. When some teams, they positive, typically it's one or two players. And with us, it was a number that just was really hard for us to kind of, gather any more momentum at the time when our guys got through with their quarantine. So we're looking to repivot on this a little bit and downshift. It's very important for us right now that our student health and their well-being is optimal. Like we really have to make sure that they are safe and having all the necessary resources that uh, come with that. So at this time right now, we're working out. It's a very limited workout. It is something that we're monitoring in a number of different ways, but it allows our young men to start moving and getting back into a habit of exercising and moving forward with having good health.
In terms of the actual season, so today is what, January 27th. The last game you played was on, I believe, December 18th in a win against Hampton. So congratulations
Yeah, the
on
HU.
that. The fake HU, the faux HU, if you will. But in terms of the season, like, what do you consider this season a wash? Like, you've only played, 5 games, and I think so far you guys have had to postpone or cancel 11 games, I think. So what is the season? What is the remainder of the season looking like for you all?
Well, I think I think the season up to this part has been a part of perseverance, an opportunity for our guys to really grow, and a once in a lifetime uh, you know pandemic. It really, I think, forces our guys to look at not only the world, but also you know the importance of things a little differently. There's a little more of a sense of urgency with things. So, we had one of the youngest teams in the country. And, having so many freshmen and sophomores, this responsibility of uh, the things that we ask of our team during this COVID period, I think it's been an incredible growth. The future of this year is still up in the air at this point in time. We're moving forward with wanting to compete and play games, but we have to take it one step at a time before we get to that point.
I'm curious if I can
Have
jump in. How are
Sure,
your players handling that? Are they? I mean, I know because a lot of them, this is a lead-in for their careers in the NBA potentially. How are they dealing with that?
Sure, I think Neil, when they look at it in perspective, they really understand uh, where we are as a program. Obviously, any competitor would love to have the opportunity to play, and I think they've invested a lot of time and energy and and mental capacity during the period. So obviously, they would like to play, but also they realize and understand that a lot of them have just experienced a virus that is um, been something that's it's been something that's been very powerful over the last year. So
Yeah.
they understand that as well. And I've talked to all of our young men daily. I talk to their families, and everyone's on the same page with their thoughts about the health and well-being of our players and our student athletes as a university.
Nice.
given that you've had to shut down and that you've had to cancel so many games, you've had players that have been affected by this virus, does the NCAA give any consideration in terms of eligibility? Like, would they be able to maintain a year next year, or would they lose this year, even though
Great
they haven't
question.
played the majority of games?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Uh, what it is right now is that the university and all the universities in the NCAA have talked about and looked at a way for everyone to have a redshirt year, COVID year. I think that that's an unbelievable way to look at it, and especially for the NCAA to kind of extend that waiver for student athletes. Um, for us, it's losing as many games as we've lost already, uh, and having the I think the stoppage with different COVID protocols that have we've experienced. I think it's only right for our young men to have women have an opportunity to have an extra year to compete. And I just, like I said, much props to the NCAA for allowing them that opportunity.
That's good.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. Rob, did you have a question?
Well, yeah, I'm curious, how do you keep your team motivated when the games just aren't taking place?
Yeah, we have a great dynamic with our team. We're very young, and I think with that there comes a certain hunger to try to be good. Um, we have a lot of guys who are very talented, but they just haven't had the chance to, really because they're young. They haven't had the chance to kind of get that experience on the court yet. So every chance I think that they have an opportunity to get on the court, they're really trying to maximize that practice session or workout session or weightlifting opportunity that they're having. We have the right guys, and I really look forward to getting back to that point where we're moving forward and having a chance to really compete this year.
How many times are your players tested throughout the week? And is that something that you as a coach and or the university enforced, or is there a standard that the NCAA has set for players?
There is a standard. Our university also supports, and our athletic director has been great about it. We are testing 3 times a week. All the players, all the coaches, our trainers, everybody that is kind of in our athletic bubble. So we're doing that. We get tested before games. We are 3 tests a week at the designated locations are all PCR tests. And then we have another rapid test before games on game day. So, sometimes it's 3 to 4 times a week that we're getting tested.
Oh, okay.
Do you find it
John, did
invasive?
you-
I'm curious. Do you find it invasive getting tested that often? 'Cause
Are
the
you
couple of
used to
times I've gotten tested, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's become quite relaxing now.
Really?
There-
I guess I guess I can imagine getting used to it after a while. Yeah.
yeah, it's become very therapeutic. It's we have some incredible people that work in our COVID unit at the hospital here at Howard University, and Miss Ava and her crew, they make it such a seamless and kind of like not tedious you know visit. They're very funny. They have a lot of personality, and sometimes going to the right thing that just kind of can jolt your day to a different spirit.
Yeah. Yeah. Certainly. Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Sorry, Gianni. I interrupted. Go ahead.
Yeah, you took my question. No, I'm kidding. So, Coach, although you are focusing and growing the team at this time, and COVID and the games are uncertain, I read that you're actually into art and interior design and graphic design. I wanted to know if you would still have future plans to like make that a business again, like meshing the sports and art.
Yeah, I think right now I'm just really locked in and focused on coaching. I do have you know I just recently moved, so I had a chance to work with my wife and my 3.5-year-old daughter, and doing a lot of stuff in the place that we just moved to in DC. So that's been a neat project, and kind of have whet my appetite for a little bit. But my thoughts right now are all on basketball, all on Howard University, and just trying to continue to, I think, inspire our team to grow.
Yeah. I have a bunch of work going on in my house right now, and yeah, it's just for me. I don't know. It's too much for me. It's too much going on. Too much chaos and stuff. I can't deal with it sometimes.
So let's talk about very quickly freshman McClure Maker.
Yeah, that was one
What
of my questions.
went through your head when he said yes, when he signed that letter of intent? Yes, I'm
Okay,
going to HU.
let's explain to our audience exactly who McClure Maker is. So
Yeah.
McClure Maker is one of the top recruits in the United States. Go ahead.
I
Lizzie.
think last year, I think last spring, and correct me if I'm wrong, Coach, I believe he was the number 16 recruit in the country. And 16, for those of you who are not very familiar with sports and basketball and the way recruiting goes, we're talking the 16th player across the entire country. And there are thousands of high school basketball teams in this country. So this was a pretty big deal, especially since he was being recruited by UCLA, by Kentucky, by other top 1 division schools. And that's not to take a knock at Howard, but this is unprecedented. So what did you think when he was like, Coach, I think I'm coming. I think I'm coming, Coach. And then he finally signed on the dotted line.
Yeah, I was like that nervous kind of probably boyfriend that was like unsure. It was. I was like, for real? But I'm in my head because I want to stay cool with this now. Like I don't want to act like I'm like this is over my head or something. So I'm just kind of like, for real? Did that just happen? Okay, now, so we're gonna do this. We're gonna move forward, and you're coming to hire. Like, okay, now when are you gonna sign? Let's get that on. Let's get that down.
Make
So
it
it was,
official.
yeah, that was kind of like my feelings, but I just knew that there was that his word was 100% his word. Dealing and having a chance to get to know him was, you could just tell the integrity was there. So once he gave me his word, I really knew that it was done, and I felt that way for a long time. We had a great shot. Um, I just really felt that we could present for him uh, an experience that was just a little bit different than his normal, like, thing that I guess top players do. He's a unique kid, and I think he was looking for a unique opportunity.
Yeah.
So, when you recruit and get a player of his caliber signed, one of the top players in the country, mentally, do you take the John Calipari approach? Like, okay, well, this kid's going to be a one and done. He's only going to be here for a year. So let me try to get the most out of him. Or do you anticipate or think, or do you not even think about that? Do you think, I'm at least going to have this kid for 2-3 years, going to help turn this program around? Like, what is your thought process with that? Because I know Coach Calipari has said on numerous occasions, that's how he thinks now. He doesn't expect certain players on his team to stay past that freshman year.
Yeah. Well, I think that each year your team is different. So you'll never have the same team twice. Even if you have the same personnel, maybe their game has, changed in a way that it benefits you, or it helps you in a way that it didn't help you in previous years. So um, my job is to try to help him become the best basketball player that he can become. And that's my singular focus, is that, help all of our young men become the best basketball players that they can become, because when that happens, it just makes our team that much stronger, and I think better. So, that's where our focus is with him. It's always, that future is there for him. But, until that decision's made, I'm just locked in on trying to help our team become really good, and trying to help him and all of our other individuals become the best they can.
And mentally, how has he been? Because he's kind of had a double whammy so far. Not
Yeah, I was
only
gonna
has
say
he
that was my question.
been shut down because of COVID, but also he's been injured.
Yeah, the growing injury.
So yeah, so he hasn't had a lot of opportunity, even in the 5 games that you guys have played so far. He hasn't had a lot of opportunity to play. So how do you keep him focused and upbeat, particularly? Freshmen can be emotional. As someone who teaches freshmen 3 days a week, they could be emotional.
Yeah, that's awesome question. I think that with that, one, he's a very mature young man. He's been around his cousin Thon Maker, who is an NBA player, Mature Maker, who has played overseas and also played in the G League. So he's had a chance to be around, pros, and see how they conduct themselves, how they handle themselves. He was working out all during COVID with Mature and Thon. So those guys are going through some adversity. I don't think that, you know Detroit last year didn't have an opportunity to make it to the bubble. So there's always going to be challenges, and I think McCord is seeing those challenges, understands how to really lock in and stay focused, and kind of look at the big picture and understand the goals at the end of the day for him and for our team.
So you think he'll be ready for the NBA, or is he sticking around? What do you think is going to happen with him next season, or you really don't know?
At this point in time, I think he's just locked in on this season and trying to make the most of the completion of the season. He hasn't played a game since Thanksgiving. So, to get back to, being on the court and all of those things that come with that, I think he's really locked in on that process.
Okay.
Yeah.
Izzy.
And what about this idea? And this started actually before McCord decided to sign with HU, but then the idea went bonkers haywire once he did. The idea that top players, particularly top Black players, top African American players in this country, should go to HBCUs, should enroll and play for HBCUs. I think sports journalist Jamel Hill, who used to work for ESPN, now she writes for The Atlantic, she did a very in-depth article last spring about this concept, about how, the PWIs, the predominantly white institutions in this country, are not necessarily doing right by our Black athletes. So maybe Black athletes need to start focusing on HBCUs. Like, what do you feel about that concept?
Yeah,
I mean, I know
there's a lot of different studies that have been done where people have taken a look at the ratio of athletes that come in per sports teams, especially with the football and basketball teams, versus the population of the whole student body for minority students or for Black students, and it's a huge disparity. Um, and there's a small percentage of student athletes that are at revenue sports or playing revenue sports that are generating, I think, money that are going to students that don't look like them and don't represent who they are. So that's something that I think our 5-star kids can do, our 4-star kids, and anybody that is very conscious in that way. Students that go to HBCUs and have an opportunity to play on revenue sports, they're going to school with kids that represent them and that look like them. So when they have an opportunity to have success and generate uh, revenue through NCAA, um, compensations with bonuses, that money's now going back to a university that's going to help kids that look like them and build buildings that look like them. So that's it's something that people are talking about, and it's something that people are conscious about right now.
We have about
I've been,
5 minutes.
in my classes, I talk to my students a lot about representation. And so that's basically what you just talked about, like, representation at HBCUs with top athletes. At the same time, I also, remind people that HBCUs need a little bit of help with their athletic departments. Like, it's a completely different ball game, especially in terms of fundraising and boosters and scholarships and money that goes back into the athletic program. Like, there's a big difference, especially with football. Let's take football, for example, because there are more players on a football team than a basketball team. If you take the University of Oregon football team and compare it to any HBCU football team across the country. And I'm just talking about the athletic department, not the talent, but the athletic department. If I'm a kid and I'm being recruited and I go to this, immaculate facility where for each one of our games I have a different uniform, I have all of these amenities and so forth, and my games are on television, I get exposure, then I might not be likely to sign with the HBCU. And so, what do you think the NCAA needs to do? What do you think boosters need to do to help elevate the HBCU athletic programs? Because they need money, they need people putting, an effort down into the programs, and they need exposure. And I do think, I love the fact that McCord was able to get, people talking. And it's a shame that he, hasn't been able to get people talking about his talent yet. But the NCAA, somebody needs to help these programs out. You guys can't do it by yourselves.
Yeah, and I thank you for bringing that up. In modern, I think in modern coaching, we like part of the thing that I think talking to my AD during the interview process, and also since I've been at Howard, that he was really attracted to is that I had an entrepreneurial background,
Mm.
and understanding that, he knew I understood how to, I think, run a business, how to build a business. Um, I've built several startups into businesses that have had a lot of traction and longevity. And coming into a situation like Howard, where uh, the student experience has always been paramount. Howard's one of the top 80 schools in the country, and so that part of the student's experience is like well documented, and the culture and the history, and
And you say
all of those
top 80 in terms of what? Sorry,
top 80 academic school in the country by
academic. I
US.
want to make sure we're clear.
Of course, he's talking about academics. You got the
I'm just
professor
making
here.
sure people understand the top 80 how great Howard is. I'm just making sure.
And so I think since I've been here, part of my responsibility has been to bring the relationships and uh, resources that I've and just kind of like knowledge of things that I've done in the past to our program. So yeah, I am my title is coach, but under the big umbrella, I'm trying to build and develop a startup here, and it almost like goes with business school principles how I'm looking at this thing. So to be at Howard, to have relationships in the business school, to spend some time with the professors and deans over there, and something that I've watched and just kind of studied to understand, like, hey, how do you I've done this, but I want to know more. And that's kind of how I approached it a little bit. Instead of saying like, you know, we don't have, I'm like, okay, I'm going to get like,
How can we get?
if
Yeah.
yeah, how can we get it? How can we move forward with this? What do we have to do to make this work? And I'm not going to wait for anybody to give it to me. I'm going to go figure out a way to get it. Because I think having the Howard brand, uh, be successful, especially in basketball, where there's uh, the marketing of it is so different because players are playing in jerseys and no helmets and shorts, so you can see
And
you can
see
see
them.
them. You get to know them now in terms of like. So it's one of those sports where you can really, I think, ignite a campus, and that's the ultimate goal at Howard, is to try to unite the campus, and that means the alum, the current students, the faculty, all of the athletic teams, the DC community, people who are fans of Howard University. Like, if that can ignite, this thing can be really special.
Yeah. I just want to get in some real quick questions from online. We are really out of time, but so Rupka asked, how does the virus affect the younger prospects that you would be looking at from high school? Because you don't get to prospect them and see them in action against top quality talent. So how does that affect you in that?
How does it
Yeah,
affect you? And are you going to be on the road recruiting? Are you going to be on the
Oh,
road
it's a good,
recruiting?
yeah. And you get on the road. That's right.
I haven't been on the road since wow, maybe 2019 of July.
Whoa.
Some after that, a little bit, probably up until December. But once January came, and the
You couldn't get out there.
talk of kind of it, we kind of shut it down a little bit.
Wow.
In terms of the players for this year, yeah, it does affect high school players tremendously, and my heart, and it's devastating for these guys, because in a lot of cities and a lot of states, they're not able to compete. And so if we're not able to compete, we're not able to go out. They're not able to share current film. A lot of these players are going to go to a prep school, JUCO, Division II, Division III. I think all of those leagues are going to be really strengthened, because
Yeah, good
they're
point.
going to be a lot of good players that have gone underlooked and are undervalued.
Well, the good thing is you'll have some people to pick from because you'll be able to recruit those next year. Another question from George Fournier. I wonder how you feel about amateur college athletes being paid for playing sports while they're still in college.
Yeah, pay them.
Pay them. Yep.
Pay them.
All right.
Yeah, 100%.
So we're in agreement then. 'cause
I agree 100%. Pay them.
Good.
Pay them.
Yeah.
All right.
It's
good.
ridiculous. Ridiculous.
All right. So that is all the questions online. I did have one other question for you that I do want to kind of get in. So I wanted to ask you about in last year in August, one of our icons, John Thompson, passed away. I just wanted to know if you could speak a little bit about maybe how he influenced your road to where you are, and how the opportunities are for Black, college coaches out there.
Yeah,
And
no,
if
that,
he
that
recruited you, and if he recruited you out of the method.
yeah. I've known Coach Thompson since I was probably 8 years old.
Wow.
Oh
Um,
wow.
Oh, wow.
yeah, and this was when he had two sons or has two sons, Ronnie Thompson and John Thompson. John
Mhm.
Thompson, the third, was the same age as my brother, and Ronnie was maybe a year or two older than me. But we
Uh-huh.
always grew up playing in rival police boys clubs here in Washington D.C. So I've known of the Thompsons since I was in, you know, second grade probably or something like that, third grade. And they've always been, Black royalty in Washington D.C.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's revered in the city. And growing up, I had to, you know, I was a huge Georgetown fan. I watched every
Allen
game. There were
Iversons, Patrick Ewings,
Oh yeah, no, you can go back to Sleepy Floyd and
Sleepy Floyd.
Craig
Yep.
guys like that. I used to see the players. Some of them lived in my neighborhood. One or two of them lived in my neighborhood. So I was Georgetown crazy, and had a chance to get recruited by Coach Thompson. But really felt that I needed to get outside of DC and see other parts of the country. So that's
Yes.
why.
Yes.
I did the same thing for college. I had to get away.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I had a chance to go to Howard, and I decided to go away. I
I
think that
never
was the wrong
considered
decision, but I did that anyway. I should have gone to
I
Howard.
never considered these schools at all. Didn't apply to any. I was like, I got to get the hell up out of here.
Yeah, that's how I
Yeah.
felt too.
But yeah, but long story short, right now I am building my program in the blueprint that Coach Thompson built his starting back in 1972. And that's, you know, getting Georgetown probably was a top 50 school back then, or a top, very good academic school.
Mhm.
But at the time that he got there, athletics or just the basketball part of it was never a huge priority.
Right.
And he kind of changed the way that Georgetown basketball was viewed globally. The I think the brilliance and the genius behind Coach Thompson and the success that he had there, was uh, all molded by in the clay that he just, it's one of those things when you're doing this, you have to get down in the dirt
Mm-hmm.
and literally brick by brick put this thing together. And I can, envision Coach Thompson doing that over the years and fighting not only, to make his program successful, but also the injustices that, are in our culture and in our society, and especially, in parts of athletics. Coach Thompson was a guy that was, we're standing on his shoulders because he's a guy that was so instrumental in just equality of for student athletes, but also the equality of coaches and Black people in general. Um, so I'm very lucky and fortunate to have a chance to kind of study him close up and from afar. I'm a huge fan, and like I said, it is an honor and kind of like a goal to emulate what he did at Georgetown with what I'm trying to do here at Howard.
Wonderful.
One last question. One
Make it
last
quick. We were like way over time.
So you went to Duke. You played for Coach K at Duke University. Once we get out of this pandemic nonsense, when are we going to see Bison versus Blue Devils? Duke versus Howard.
Who cares about the Duke Blue Devils? Nobody cares about the Blue
I
Devils.
mean, 5-time national champion.
Nobody cares about the Duke Blue Devils. Nobody cares about them.
Duke and Howard. Okay.
I think that would be
How
a
about see
great
Howard Georgetown?
No one's saying that they can't play Georgetown, but Georgetown hasn't won 5 championships. They've only won 1. Again, Coach Blakeney, when is it going to happen?
I think if it happens, that would probably happen in the NCAA tournament. If we're fortunate enough to get there and those guys are playing well, I think that Coach K is not a huge fan of playing former assistant coaches or former players. So I respect that, and won't even bring it up to him. But I think one of the ways that it's possibly something that can happen would be through the NCAA tournament.
If that happens
nice.
in the NCAA tournament, I will come out of sports journalism retirement and I will cover 100%.
Absolutely. We'll get you press credentials.
I know.
All right, Coach Blakeney. Is there any last words, anything you'd like to share with people, before we close it out? Anything you'd like to say? Tell people how to reach you, how to maybe you're on social media?
Oh, wow. That's the toughest question that you could probably ask me because I don't even know my social media handles.
Well, any last words?
Yeah, I'm the furthest thing from a techie. So, I guess last week, thank you guys. This has been awesome. And truly, beyond my expectations. I had a lot of fun, and anytime you guys want to chat again, please don't hesitate to holler at me.
Awesome. We'd love to have you back. Thank you, Coach Blakeney. We appreciate you.
Good luck for the rest.
Good luck on the season.
Thank you.
It's amazing how quickly the time goes. When
I know. I keep saying that every single show. I look down and I'm like, what? It's already been 40 minutes? What? Yeah, time goes by really fast. All right, let's see if we can get into at least a couple of these hot topics. And let's get through them as quickly as we can, guys. All right?
Truth, lies, shenanigans.
All right, to explain our hot topics, each host brings a hot topic they want to share with you. We'll ask, is it a truth, lie, shenanigans? Our panel will talk about it for a bit until time is up. And then we'll go to our audience questions and comments. So make sure you're talking to us in all our threads. Let's jump into it, Robbie. So I understand Trump might find himself homeless in a few weeks. Is this truth, lie, or shenanigans?
Well, this is some truth. Some hopefully legally binding truth. So it looks like Trump's plan to live in Mar-a-Lago is going to be challenged. So for those of you who don't know, Mar-a-Lago is a private club that he owns in Palm Beach, Florida. And there were numerous reports that he was having his apartment renovated, that Melania Trump was touring schools for Barron. But the big pitch is that when the club was created, he signed an agreement that could keep him from living there. I checked out a transcript from an NPR radio show back in December, and Jack McDonald, who served as the Palm Beach mayor and a member of the town council for about 16 years, so during this interview, he disclosed that when Trump signed the deal in the 90s, when he proposed converting the palatial estate into a private club, the town agreed with a stipulation. No one can stay in any of the club's guest suites for more than 3 non-consecutive weeks every year.
So he can stay 3 weeks a year, that's it? 3 consecutive weeks a year.
Non-consecutive.
That was part of the deal that he signed in 93. He signed that was part of the deal that he signed in 93. So a letter has been sent to the town officials claiming that he has already violated that agreement by staying there for longer than 21 days. But it's unlikely that they were really monitoring the president's stays. So now, Palm Beach does have a history of disputes with him. Stuff that involves like the height of a flagpole, plans to build a dock that was rejected, and a helipad. The helipad was built for President Trump, but it's supposed to be taken down after the fact. So we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
Right? So this could be a real legal issue for him. The only loophole that I can foresee is that he is the owner and technically not a resident, but if he's living there, he's technically a resident as well as the owner. It's like hair club for men. He's not only the president. Like, never.
He's not only the president.
I don't need that. I don't need that.
Neither do I. I don't need it either. I'm good.
So yeah, I just want to go
Hey,
around
what's with the
and
eyes?
get some reactions from my co-hosts and what Palm Springs, Mar-a-Lago should be doing with this more than 3-week year resident.
I'll start. So I read through the article, and personally, I think Trump should be forced out. I mean, he only received the approval. He only received approval because of you know, he was looking for some zoning and some tax incentives and some things like that because Palm Beach was totally against this Mar-a-Lago club, turning into a Mar-a-Lago club initially. And so he needed to try to get the zoning rights to be able to do it. And the only way he could do it was turn it into a vacation spot. So, and he's got tax incentives that are still going on. So I say kick him out. Look, I'm happy if he's homeless. So I'm happy. Any negative thing that happens to Trump right now, I'm probably happy camper. I mean, at the very least, they need to remove the tax incentive. At the very least, they need to drop the tax incentive if he's going to stay there. Yanni, you want to go next?
Trade-off.
Yanni, what do you think?
Yeah, I was going to say that I think that they should make him leave because it's not fair. Like, you have to treat him like he would treat the other people or the other residents or guests or people that are part of the club. So, and I remember Mayor Patrick Wohan spoke about this. Like, we talked about this when the riots were happening, how they weren't going to let him enter Mar-a-Lago. So kind of expected that, but I think that he's a good manipulator and he's going to find a way to stay, if we're being honest.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Lizzie?
So I guess, Rob, there's no room at the inn, if you will. But the thing that is I find intriguing about this story is before Trump became president of the United States, his main residence was in New York City. He had a sprawling penthouse apartment in his property, Trump Tower, on Fifth Avenue in New York City. And so it's I mean, I understand why he wants to stay the hell out of Dodge with New York. One, because New Yorkers absolutely hate him now, even more so than they did prior when he, became president, but also because the New York AG, Attorney General, is on his ass and is about to indict him any day now.
Sooner than later, I hope.
But that's just it's so fascinating to think how his life, his residency has changed in 4 years. When he became president, even though he was here in DC, Melania and Barron were still at the penthouse on Fifth Avenue in New York. And they shut down the entire area in front on Fifth Avenue, which is a major shopping tourist attraction.
It is.
In New York City. But they shut down the area in front of Trump Tower. I think it was like a 4-block radius on 2 streets. Not just Fifth Avenue, but also on Madison Avenue. You could not drive through that area. You could not walk. And so it's interesting. So they really, were like, okay, this is Trump's spot. We have to protect him. Now they're like, we don't give a fuck. Get out of here. We don't back. Don't back. No.
There's so many people that just hate Trump so much.
It's crazy to think. He has a sprawling golf course in Scotland. They don't want him. The PGA has said, we're not having him at this venue. Like, he is, about to be kicked to the curb in ways that we never. And this is pre-indictment, pre-conviction, pre-bail sentence. So not only may he be homeless as a free man, but he might have an apartment in jail in New York City, in federal prison at some point. But one quick point also, you saw this, but currently, Mike Pence is homeless too right now.
Yeah.
Because Mike Pence didn't plan for Trump not.
He's couch surfing. He's couch surfing.
He's staying on his boy's couch. These people are ridiculous.
Robbie, real quick, you got about 30 seconds. What are your thoughts?
Really, that's it. As the owner, he may have found the legal loophole that will allow him to stay at Mar-a-Lago for in excess of the 3 weeks per year as part of that agreement with Palm Springs. It certainly violates the spirit of the agreement, but like Johnny alluded to, Trump has proven time and time again that the rules don't apply to him. He will work hard to find a way to manipulate the system, but it'd be hard to find legal representation seeing as he doesn't want to pay Rudy anymore. So I don't think any lawyers are going to want to step up and really want to help him anymore.
He ain't gonna be able to pay Rudy. Rudy's about to get disbarred. Rudy's about to get disbarred.
Yeah, he's about to get a bunch of stuff. Hopefully they get him.
Heck yeah.
I hope they get him for all those billions. That what was it, 1 point some whatever billion. I hope they get him for all of it. Online we have Rupka says he should move to Russia. Jacqueline Robinson says maybe his cult can raise money to buy his grifter couple of places. This grifter couple a place to live. I can't read all of a sudden. George Fournier says exactly, Neo. Another hair-raising tax scheme. Kevin Thaxton says he can't go back to New York.
No.
Mike Winter says better yet, snatch back his tax benefits. He doesn't fulfill any of the financial obligations of his, but add the IRS to the tax list. Jacqueline Rom says he's like a walking STD. Yeah, Rudy's being sued for $1.3 billion. Yes. All right. We got to move on to the next one. That was a good one, Rob. All right. So the next one is actually mine. So, and this is some shenanigans for sure. Last week, our own Gianni Storm created this very hilarious and very accurate TikTok video.
Let him know, Gianni. Let him know.
For those listening on the podcast, Gianni is walking by a background of protesters at the Capitol, and it says, "If it were me, they would have shot my black ass." And she hilariously runs off. I busted out laughing when I first saw it. But what I didn't expect is it would get 42,000 views, 1,100 likes, and about 900 comments. But guys, it's the comments that caught my attention. It's the nasty racist trolls on TikTok got a hold of this video. And you can imagine what happened. Let me read some of these actual comments from her video. Let me pull it up. And some of them are really, really nasty. I'm pulling them up live on the show so we can see it. It says, for example, here we go. They didn't shoot any of the Black Panthers when they raided the Capitol. And feel free to respond as I'm talking, because I don't know. Okay. Then they said, they shot a girl. You know that, right? Notice no race in mind because actions determine your fate. And there's the race card. Poor me.
They fired one shot the entire day. Don't give me that BS. They fired one shot. Come on now.
Yeah, they did.
A lot of people brought up the Black Panthers. Ever heard of the Black Panthers? They did it armed, and not one of them was arrested or shot. Do your research, child. Right? So I just want to point out, the Black Panthers walked into the state capitol in Sacramento armed. But they did not force themselves through barriers. They did not threaten anybody. They did not break, windows, smash windows down. They certainly didn't kill anybody.
Death with a fire extinguisher. Let's make that clear.
Not even relevant. Some people are saying, good. They would have shot her black ass. Good. We saw a bunch of comments saying that. I mean, it was really, really nasty comments all throughout. So
I think the intention of me making the video was, well, one, I was inspired by another girl that made the video, right, or something similar, and I just thought it was cool to just add my twist. So I feel like the intention was not as that deep. I mean, although obviously it's a steep, kind of stark topic, I said they would have shot my black ass. It was still kind of like speaking on a situation that's kind of likely to happen. And I know that there were people saying, well, there are black people in the crowd, but the difference is those black people are also sheep, like the other white people they're joining. So it's kind of, I was kind of more leaning to me.
Like 10 black people.
Yeah, I can count them on my hands. Exactly.
Here's another comment. Someone just
So-
won the Oscar for playing the Best Victim Award. They didn't shoot you in Seattle, Portland, Chicago. At least they went to the source of the problem in the U.S. and didn't destroy their own businesses and neighborhoods.
I hate when people
No, they brought zip ties. They bought Molotov cocktails. They bought guns, and they were trying to get at the very fiber and fabric of the U.S. government. They were trying to destroy our government.
Another one.
and they were also
It's
looting.
crazy. And they said
They
that's
were
funny
looting
because they didn't have a problem. He said you didn't have a problem with police burning down police stations, businesses, cars, and buildings over the past year.
I don't get why that
police
was.
don't shooting black folks either. I mean, we could go tit for tat if you want to, folks. But see, let me just say this. Because this will be my response. One of the reasons why I am very hesitant to get on social media as myself is because of this very thing. When I worked for Sports Illustrated, I couldn't really respond to people the way I wanted to. So I didn't tweet often because my Twitter handle was under the Sports Illustrated umbrella. And you know me, I pop off at the mouth in 2 seconds. It does not take much. But I can't do that when I'm representing my brand. So even though they would always, email me, you need to tweet more, I would just retweet stuff because I'm like, I can't deal. But the one time I did, I had a friend who coaxed me into an argument that she was having with someone. One of my, former friends, actually, and a white young lady. And the person that she was arguing with, their response to me was, "Shut up, N-word. Shut up, nigger." On Twitter. Not only on Twitter, but on my business account.
This is going to get us banned from TikTok.
We not on TikTok.
Yes, we are. We're live on TikTok right now.
They said it to me. And if y'all not going to ban the people that are coming at Gianni, you better not ban me.
That's true.
But anyway.
No, they're doing that. I want to just point out one thing real quick. They are doing that on TikTok. They are silencing a lot of black creators who are talking about the people who are doing all the N-words, but then they're not banning the people who are actually saying the N-word. But go ahead.
But my point is that it took a lot for me not to respond to that. So all I did was I retweeted, this is what happens to a black woman on Twitter. And then my white colleagues, they retweeted what I said. This is what our young black female colleague has to go through. And so I learned in that moment, I can't really go back and forth with people on social media. I don't read, even when I was still at Sports Illustrated and I would write something and then they would put the article on social media and then people would comment. I don't read the comments. Yep. I try not to engage people. And so what I want to say to you, Gianni, is one, keep your head up. Keep your head up. There was nothing wrong with that video that you posted. No. It was very innocuous. You spoke
funny.
The truth.
It's hilarious to me.
You didn't offend anybody. You didn't call anybody out of their name. So I would just say, keep on keeping on. Just do what you do, and then let others just say whatever they want to say to the side. Yeah. Because if you keep looking at the comments, if you are tempted to engage, it's going to drive you crazy. And it's going to hurt your feelings, and it's going to make the next video that you do less authentic. And I always want you to be your authentic. You do great videos for us. So just keep doing what you're doing. Ignore all of that other nonsense.
Look at this. Somebody said once a victim, always a victim. But they also said, another person said, when she says they would have shot my black ass if I were there, person said, pity you weren't there. I mean, really? I mean, this is the type of thing we're dealing with. And it's, I mean, it's so crazy. I mean, they get worse. They get way worse.
That situation would be like, pull up. Pull
up. That's what makes me feel like.
Robbie, any quick thoughts?
That's why I don't respond.
Yeah. It's, I mean, the standard rule of the internet is don't feed the trolls. And if you notice, the people who are inflammatory online have a tendency to not share their image on their profiles.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of user 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on there. That's true.
If
Yep.
exactly, if social media were responsible and forced you to post everything as your persona, a lot of people would lose their thunder. A lot of people would lose their fight because you don't
Yeah.
speak like that. You don't say things like that. And unfortunately, the internet has emboldened a demographic that is very sad and unhappy with themselves, who are angry and are just happy to lash out at anybody. Haters are going to hate. Keep generating that content. Keep speaking your truth, because to me, that it's what you did is relevant commentary. It absolutely is. This has been a real education for me over the last year, and what I have witnessed in America through the media. Um, yeah, I mean, it's definitely a heavy-handed response if you don't look like me.
Mike
A
Winters
much
on
more heavy-handed.
TikTok, he said, Gianni Storm, your video is fire. The Duke alumnus supports you here in DC.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
All
Wow.
right, so quick comment. So Salai says the TikTok was facts. Ignoring the comments is practicing self-care. That's true.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there was at one point I had to reach out to Gianni because I'm like, Gianni might be internalizing some of this because some of this was intense.
Defensive. Yeah.
It's actually for both of you. My best advice would be, just ignore it. Like as
Oh,
we move forward,
it doesn't bother me.
hopefully as
Got
we
it.
move forward, we be able to hire a moderator, someone who gets paid to, deal with all that
Oh,
content.
trust me,
But
I'm about to get some people banned.
just for your
Just for the
sanity,
show.
John, I would not pay attention to it because it will eventually hurt your feelings,
Yeah,
and it will
it
drive
can
you nuts.
eventually affect you.
It will affect how you want to express yourself in the future. And again, I want you to be your authentic self.
Yep.
I want you to be happy, Gianni, doing your thing. So yeah,
Yep.
don't just turn it off.
All
Just turn it off.
All right. So Kevin Thatcher
Okay.
says the Black Panthers didn't assault the federal building, nor did they try to overthrow the government. Good points. I mean, like I say, all the Black Panthers. I mean, you wouldn't believe how many comments were on these Black Panthers.
These are
A
not the
lot.
most educated folks. These are not the most educated folks. I
Great
had to
point.
rip someone's threads earlier today for their ignorance and their false information.
George
Like,
Fournier says reprehensible. Trump incited this group and should pay the consequences. There needs to be a record of what has taken place. Jose says, incredible what I have learned this past year and continue to learn about people. All right, and then Jacqueline Robb said, exactly, it was all in good fun, but a stuck dog will always holler. Fascinating how these people go from zero to violence in 2 seconds flat. All right, guys, we got to move on to the last hot topic. That was a good hot topic. That was a fun one. Sorry about all the trolls, Gianni. Sorry about all the trolls. But you get to jump in there, and now it's your hot topic. So, with all this overt racism we've had, and now you want to talk about Rick Ross is in the news again, talking about colorism.
Colorism. Yes.
So is this truth or
So-
shenanigans?
This is shenanigans. But colorism to me is kind of important because I've had a lot of personal experience with colorism. So I would say that this is some truth. But you guys, let's see how we take it. So in a viral video resurfaced, Black social media has been going at Rick Ross, rapper, and label owner of MGM. Yeah, MGM label. So he had a show on VH1 called Signed, where he would have women R&B artists go against each other to pick one winner that he was going to sign to his label because there is no women on the label. So in the video that is playing, what is happening in this video is the first singer, her name is Just Brittany. You can clearly tell that she is a lighter skin tone than probably the rest of the girls. And if you do want to see this video, you can just type in this clip on YouTube, like VH1 Signed Rick Ross. Yeah, and it'll pop up because it's popular right now. So Just Brittany is the first to sing her song, and though she's pretty off key, Rick Ross tells her that your future is bright. With The Dream, another artist and producer, and people just in there providing similar remarks like, oh, you're a star, you're bright. And Kaya, which is a darker skinned R&B singer, she's going to show up soon. She has kind of like dreadlocks and all of this going on. You'll see her. Her song was clearly she had more skill. She had more range. She had a better voice, period. So Rick Ross's response to her performance was that that wasn't the best platform for your voice, which isn't a horrible
Because they used
response,
a similar
honestly.
beat, I think it was, right?
Yeah, they used actually the same beat. And so Kaya gave a better performance because she's an R&B singer, and Brittany didn't because she's more of a hip hop artist. Well, that's my opinion. If you guys watch it, you can say that.
No, I saw it. I agree
So
with you.
okay, good. So my question to sum it up is, do you guys believe this clip is a case of colorism, or is this just the music industry choosing maybe their most attractive, or what people think is the most attractive female? And I would like to start with Neo.
Oh, perfect. Because I wanted to start. So, uh, so this was a tough one, right? Because there's always been discrimination in the music industry, whether you're overweight, black, or even too black, right? Now there's no question that this darker skinned girl, what's her name, Kaya, you said, sang better. There's no question. But in this case, there could be a slew of other reasons that they chose her. It may not be colorism in this particular case, in my opinion. I mean, it's not like the two women look the same, except for the deeper deeper shade of melanin, right? There was also a weight difference. You know, the darker girl being a little bit smaller, Kaya, right? And then lighter girl was also dressed more provocatively, and there was a significant difference in confidence level as well. If you listen to them, you could feel a difference in confidence. So what I'm saying is, you know, could this be colorism? Sure, yeah. But I think people saying this particular clip is colorism might be reaching a little bit. Definitely, I think it's an issue out there in the industry, but you know, there are probably better examples, you know, of young dark skinned women with tons of talent struggling to make it. I'm not saying it's not an issue in the industry. I'm just saying I'm not sure. I think Rick Ross just liked the girl who was dressed all, you know, nice. I think he just liked her better, liked her look better, and maybe her confidence. There's a number of reasons outside of just colorism that I think she might have been selected. But it could also be part of it. That's my thought. Go ahead. I think Lizzie she's holding her tongue, so I will let her talk.
Well, if Rob wants to go next, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, let's hear Rob.
Sure.
I had a feeling this was going to be a fun one.
Musical appreciation is subjective. In my opinion, Kaya killed it. She's a much more talented singer and performer.
No question.
She performed the same song with more passion, more energy than just Brittany. Just Brittany just swayed, showed a lot more skin than Kaya, bigger in the booty. You know, but I'm not earning gold records yet, so I really don't know the industry secrets. Why they chose just Brittany is beyond me, because she wasn't off key when she sang her song, but she was just kind of barely singing along with the arrangement that was already there. It's almost like she was just accompanying it, whereas Kaya performed the hell out of the
he wanted
song.
to hit it.
So this might be a case of colorism, or simply a case of business. Who is more marketable? I don't work at that level of the industry, so I really can't say. But as far as my personal opinion, Kaya should have been
way more
signed
talented
on the spot, because that girl can sing.
Way more talent.
It was impressive.
Beautiful voice. Yeah, I agree.
All right, Lizzie.
Thank you, Rob.
Get it in.
So Johnny, can you repeat very quickly what Rick Ross's response was to each young lady? Like, what did he say after Brittany finished singing?
After Brittany finished singing, he said, "Your future is bright." And after Kaya finished singing,
Kaya did not get to finish singing. They cut her off during her performance.
Yes.
This isn't for you.
Yep.
What?
True. Yeah. This is not the best platform for your voice.
For your voice. Your voice. So what platform would that be? The TNA platform? Or the platform that you are the head of a record company, of a record label, and it is your duty to recognize vocal talent. And if you need additional aesthetic help, with how you look, with how you present yourself.
Yeah.
We have people
Yeah.
on staff to help with that. Like, I'm here to listen to your voice and figure out if you can blow and if you can make a record. Not if you got a big booty, not if you're light skinned, not if you can shake your ass. Like, so let's be real about this. This was absolutely an example of colorism. And let me take it further in that colorism in the Black community isn't as harsh on the Black male as it is on the Black female.
I think we should
I didn't say
clarify
it
what
was.
colorism is, because I'm not sure our audience, all of our audience, understands what
So
colorism is.
true.
It's basically racism based
Judging someone by their hue, by their skin
lighter
tone.
skin. So we find that darker skinned Black people are treated very differently than lighter skinned Black people, for example.
Although, let me just say, like, not every light-skinned person has had it easy. Even though I don't necessarily consider myself light-skinned, my grandmother used to call me piss-colored. I was her piss-colored grandchild.
Goes back to
Hi,
slavery
yeah.
days too. The house inwards.
If that ain't colorism, I don't know what is. But as it relates to our community, colorism is way more harsh amongst females.
Yes, I
Both
agree.
by
100%.
females and by males. And so this is something that I think
It still
I'm not
exists
surprised.
in males, but I think it is harsher
It
in
still
females.
exists in males, but it's way more harsh for. And to the point where I talked about this in my lessons today with my students as it related to Kamala Harris and how people are questioning whether or not she's even Black based on her color and her parents being immigrants. And that's a completely different topic and conversation. However, I think in this particular example that Gianni gave with the clip, with the article, with the way, Rick Ross was sitting there with his dark-skinned self, I might add.
True.
A lot of times, with dark-skinned men who are passing judgment and being colorist about Black females, he wasn't judging. He wasn't listening to who was singing the best.
He
Like
wasn't.
you said, you did not point. He was trying to, get in there. He was trying to get his penis wet.
That's what I think.
But
I think it's just
but
more
he was
attracted to her.
but he was also looking at and judging the light-skinned girl on her voice and telling the darker-skinned girl, this isn't the platform for your voice. What?
Yeah.
Mofo, do you not remember Lauryn Hill?
Mm-hmm.
5-time Grammy winner Lauryn Hill? Come on. And I just use her as an example just because she won all those Grammys and she was the it girl in 1998, 1999. And she's a very beautiful, dark-skinned woman. Little cray, but again, that's a different conversation. But yeah, that was completely an example of colorism, 100%.
All right,
100%.
Mike Winter says, let me find out Rob B talking about them pound cakes. Mike Winter, Kevin Thaxton said them yams. Rupka says a case of who can I get in bed? That's what she thinks. George Fournier says sex sells though. Sex sells, and Jose agreed. Sadly, that's true.
Sex sells, but it's not like, we don't have a situation where young ladies walk into the room, into the audition fully clothed, and they show up for the record launch with nothing on.
Oh, we didn't give you a chance to say your thoughts, Johnny. I'm sorry.
All in all, I do agree that it is a colorist. I think it has a taste of colorism, but I do agree with you guys because I wanted to get male perspectives as well and just different colors. So I feel like it could be a case of more attractive, even though I don't even think she was more attractive than Kaya, but that's my opinion.
I don't think so either.
But I think, at all. But I think that you're right, the confidence, the outfit, maybe she said that she was trying to, on purpose, use Rick Ross's, like, words and, like, she knew how to milk the game, too. She was smart like that, I guess. Yeah, so I think it was a combination of that.
And when you're dealing with these, especially these hip hop men, sex sells more to them.
Colorist, you look at their videos. Rarely do you see a dark-skinned sister in their videos. Rarely.
Unless she's in a bikini.
Or unless she is more male identified and she has a gun in her hand. She's one of them.
Yeah.
Very rarely do you see that they envision as sexy, if you will. But did you pay attention or happen to look at, is her name Brittany, the lighter skinned young lady? Her name is Brittany.
Mhm.
Did you pay attention to her comments? She agreed that, it was colorism and that it is a huge
I didn't see
problem
that.
for the music industry.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So,
I forgot to mention it.
as women, we know it when we see it. Just like when I posted about this particular topic for Gianni, I posted a quote from the old school rap group. I hope Gianni might not know this rap group. Like I might be so bit on this, but the old school rap group UTFO,
Oh, yeah. That
talked
was my first
about
cassette tape. My first album I ever bought, UTFO. Yep.
they had a song back in the day. Your Cold Wanna Be With Me. And one of the controversial verses in Your Cold Wanna Be was, "Got to be a Redbone, a beautiful work of art."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the only type
It's been in the industry for years. I'm just saying, I'm not sure this clip alone is strictly colorism. I think there's other factors in addition to colorism, but I just think.
And again, I'm someone who is on the lighter side.
I don't think it's an obvious case of colorism. Is all I'm saying. All right,
I'm sure.
we gotta move on. We gotta move on.
Truth, lies, shenanigans.
That was a good hot topic. It was a great hot topic. Let's get into our game because we are way over time. Let's do it quick. All right, this has been a particularly serious one, so we got to get the game in. We always love to end our show with a fun game. Today's game is from the app Most Likely To. I'll ask, who do you think is most likely to do something? And because of time, I'll ask you to quickly yell out, who do you think is most likely to do it? Person with the most call-outs gets the point, and person with the most points gets the final thought for the show. All right. For example, who's most likely to have their last words being, watch this?
Hazel Valentine. Hazel Valentine.
Yeah, I'm going with Rob B.
I was going to go with Rob, too.
Okay,
Sorry.
Rob B. So, all right, Rob B, I'll give you, that was a sample. All right, let's go. Let's go for real.
All right. The sampler.
Who's most likely to rule the world? Lizzie. There is no question. I'm going with Lizzie. Lizzie's going to rule the world. All right. Who's most likely to like fishing?
Rob B.
Neo.
Nah, yeah, Rob B. I'm not going to be me. I hate fishing. I get so damn bored with fishing. All right, so Rob B, I think you got the most votes for that one. So Rob B and Lizzie, 1-1. All right, who's most likely to have the most piercings? That'll be one of the ladies. That'll be one of the ladies. I'm going with Gianni on this one.
Ooh,
Rob B, you saying Gianni?
All
right, so I guess that's 2 for Gianni, so we're going to go with Gianni unless... All right.
I guess out of everybody, I probably would. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm not. I have one. I have one piercing that I don't use.
I only have ears.
Only have one ear.
Yeah, me too.
All right. So. All right. No. Wrong. Okay. Darn it.
Oh.
Who's most likely to mess up the game? Who's most likely to
Neo. Sure. Definitely Neo. There's no doubt Neo's going to do that. All right, so we get stupid ads. That's the problem. Who's most likely to get denied an entry into the club because of their fashion? Oh, Gianni Storm.
Neo.
Oh, no, not Gianni. I said denied. I read the thing and I missed it. Yes, Neo for sure. That's a Neo. No, I'm sorry, Robbie. I got you beat on fashion, buddy.
Fair enough.
I get a point. Wow, I get a whole point. All right, who's most likely to go through an emo phase? I got Lizzie.
I gotta say,
that's hard. Emo.
That's her age demographic, man. That's not me.
Yeah,
I think Lizzie.
I actually went through an emo, but it was very
there we go.
short-lived.
That's your answer. All right. Gianni Storm's in the lead. 2 points for Gianni Storm. All right. Who's most likely to steal?
Well, it depends on what I'm stealing. I might steal your man. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we're going with Lizzie. I'm going with Lizzie. Yeah, she might try. Oh, you got Lizzie too. Okay, Lizzie gets the point. All right, that's 2 for Lizzie, 2 for Gianni. All right, it's the last round. It's just between Lizzie and Gianni Storm. Let's go.
Come on, Gianni.
Who's most likely to become a high school teacher? Oh God.
Liz.
High school teacher. That's gonna be Lizzie for sure. Sorry, Gianni. She beat you out on the last one.
I teach
Good
high
job.
school students over the summer.
Our professor's definitely most likely to be a high school teacher. All right, let's get some quick shout outs in. Quick shout outs. Let's go around quick. Let's start with Lizzie today.
Shout out to my teeth, man. This is gonna be a difficult 2 months. We got a lot of dental work that needs to be done. My teeth are spreading. I hate it. I hate it. And my dentist told me today that I still have baby girl teeth.
Baby
And I
girl.
still have
Hey, baby girl.
baby in my mouth. It's a mess. So shout out to my dentist because we about to get serious. We about to get serious with it.
All right, Robbie Rock. Shout outs.
Oh gosh, shout out to my mom, shout out to my cousin George, shout out to Jose. It's wonderful to have family out and supporting, and a shout out to all of our TLS fans, everyone that tunes in and checks us out. If this is your first time, welcome. Hope you enjoyed it, and please come back.
Aw. Nice one, Rob.
All right, Gianni Storm.
Shout outs to all of the people that are joining the TLS Creative Contest. Don't forget that we're still running the contest. We're gonna run it for a little bit longer just to get the promotion out there. So enter, just put an idea out there, anything creative. I know there's a lot of creative people that watch this. So yeah.
And I'm just going to shout out my wife again today. Mel Blaine, Posh Cycling and Fitness. That's going to be my shout out for today. All right, that is all the time we have for today. I'd like to thank you all for joining us. We hope that you maybe learned something, gained a new perspective, or even got some things off your chest. I saw a lot of comments online. Sorry we didn't get to all of them. Don't forget, we need your support to keep this going. Like, follow, and subscribe at TLS Live Show. If you missed any of today's episode, check out our clips online on YouTube at TLS Live Show. And don't forget to subscribe to the audio replay of the podcast on iTunes, Spotify. Yeah, tongue-tied, my mouth is dry. On iTunes, Spotify, Google, Alexa, just search Truth Lies Shenanigans. I had a fun time. I hope you did too. The next show is on Sunday, January 31st, 4 p.m. Eastern Time and 1 p.m. Pacific. Special thanks to our guest, Coach Blakeney of the Howard Bison. And good luck to the Bison with the rest of the season.
Thank you.
All right, and Lizzie, you won the game, so you get to take us out.
So, NSO, you are on the clock. You're one of the listeners. Seattle Seahawks offensive tackle Chad Wheeler was arrested for domestic violence. Apparently, he choked his girlfriend until she was unconscious. When she regained consciousness, he said, "Wow, you're still alive? This is unacceptable. Unacceptable." The Seahawks rightfully cut him. As soon as they heard about it happening, NFL, it's your turn. Get rid of him. He is a cancer not only to the team, to the league, but also to all females around him. Get rid of him. Done. Complete.
Absolutely. I'm so tired of these guys. All right. Thanks again for the show, everybody. Neo, Lizzie, Robbie, Yanni. Calling myself out. Third person.
Thanks.
All right. Peace out, guys. Have a great one.
Truth, lies, shenanigans. Truth, lies, shenanigans. Truth, lies, shenanigans. Truth, lies, shenanigans. Truth, lies.